complicated. Let's see what the Russian perspective to this is. Listen in.
Hello, this is day one of the SCO Summit here in Tianjin in China. With me right now is Evgeny. He is a reporter from Sputnik and he's come all the way from Beijing here in Tianjin to cover the event. Evgeny, thank you very much for joining me. And President Putin has already arrived over here earlier today. Tell us what is expected during his 4-day visit. He's going to be over here for the Victory Day parade as well.
Yeah, so it's expected to be, first he's going to participate in the SCO Summit, where he is said to have at least 3, to my knowledge, bilateral meetings with Prime Minister Modi, of course, which is going to take place, all of them are going to take place tomorrow. Prime Minister Modi is going to be the first meeting, and then he'll have another 2 bilateral meetings with the leaders of Turkey and Iran. And after which he will head off to Beijing, where he will be among the main guests at the parade and all these ceremonies. And there he is always said to have a bilateral meeting with the leader of China and a trilateral meeting with Russia, China and Mongolia.
That's interesting. What do you expect from the bilateral that is going to happen between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Putin later today? In fact, it's going to happen tomorrow afternoon.
Well, I think the 2 leaders have a lot to discuss in terms of bilateral relations, trade and geopolitics. We are going through very turbulent times now, and we see Prime Minister Modi's visit here to China coming at this time. I think it's very crucial, all of it. So obviously Russia and China have always had very good relations, and I'm pretty sure that there's a lot to discuss. We have cooperation in different areas, and I'm pretty sure that the urgent business of politics is always something that is worth meeting for.
Right, absolutely. Also, there has been such an hue and cry that has been created over India's import of Russian oil. There have been additional 25% sanctions that have been imposed, but the president of Russia has been steadfast in his support for India in terms of a strategic partner, in terms of a partner that has been an all-weather friend for India. How do you see India and Russia tiding over this crisis?
Yeah, it's a very interesting issue because the Russian leadership, Moscow, never pressures its partners, trade partners, and often says that it understands the concerns and that some of the partners may be cautious because of the sanctions. But in this regard, I was following India's response to this pressure coming from the United States, and it was really quite remarkable how the Indian leaders reacted to that, and essentially you could say that India did not cave, and India always gave this impression of a country that is truly sovereign, and I think it's an interesting case which proves this point. And I guess it's critical for both countries to have trade. India obviously needs Russian energy, and as I think the Foreign Ministry of India said, well, if you don't want this oil, don't buy it. And it's interesting that a lot of it after that goes to the European Union and other places that criticize India but still buy it. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. So India, I think, well done. Well done.
How do you view the Russian media covering this SCO summit? There's also an increase in the strength of the member nations. We already have Belarus, whose membership is now being formalized at this SCO summit as well. Do you think more nations that are going to be added to this regional grouping in the future?
I think that there's a lot of debate about it within the SCO and people having different opinions. I'm not very knowledgeable about the insides of it, but essentially the question is whether the further widening of the official membership is going to make the organization maybe more cumbersome or not, if it will be functional, because SCO acts on consensus, and that of course, like adding more members that could maybe affect the efficiency although it's very flexible, and as I talked to some diplomats within the SCO, they say, well, if there are some problematic issues, we just maybe talk about something where we can have an agreement. So very flexible, very multilateral in spirit. But it looks to me that maybe there will be further expansion, but now we see this new formats with dialogue partners, etc. So maybe this is going to be the way to go for some time at least, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. The last time Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Putin and President Xi Jinping met was in Kazan during the BRICS summit that had happened last October. This is again an opportunity for all these three presidents, all these three leaders to meet again, congregate again. There is also talk at this point of time of revival of the RIC. What are the prospects of it?
So obviously it's an ancient format, it predates BRICS, and it all started back in the 1990s. So essentially everything that grew around it, primarily BRICS, it all started with RIC. So I think that this is an essential format, and it has to be. I think that whatever differences there may be, especially between China and India, they could be overcome. At least to the extent that the two countries need to maintain strategic dialogue with each other. And I think that Russia can be this link, and the third player, like a chair needs to have at least the three legs to stand on. So I think it's a very good format, and it has very good future, and it's just essential for Eurasia and Eurasian stability.
Talking about the Victory Day parade on September 3rd, there are some of the leaders and the countries that have been most heavily sanctioned by the West that are going to be participating in this victory parade, whether talking about Russia, Iran, Myanmar, North Korea. They all are going to be congregating alongside President Xi Jinping, the heads of the states. How do you have to react to this?
My reaction to this?
Yes.
Well, there's certainly a lot of things in common that these countries share. Russia is certainly the champion in terms of being the most sanctioned country in the history of the world, as we know it with this kind of international system. I think that we may see further discussions in terms of how to operate in this new environment where pressure from particularly the United States and the European Union increases. But now it is not entirely clear how, for example, China would further react to that, because of course for China its trade with the European Union and the United States is very important. But just recently there was an interview with the Russian ambassador in China, and he said that we continue. So first, the trade in national currencies is what's being promoted, but he says we continue to work within the BRICS framework and bilaterally with China and other countries on new payment infrastructure, potentially independent. So I think that it's maybe a matter of time, but I think these countries will be moving in this direction.
Right, absolutely. And also your experience over here, the last 2 days, you came in over here yesterday. What do you think is the buzz on the ground? What is the media's perception of the summit?
I had some interactions with the Chinese journalists who are obviously very hyped up about it, and they're very interested what the foreign media thinks about it. There's a lot of talk about the Shanghai spirit and all of that. Obviously, there's a lot of interest. There are a lot of Western journalists also attending, and there's obviously a lot of attention to this meeting. I'm not sure what people expect from this summit. I guess it depends on the country of origin, but it's certainly an event that brings a lot of attention globally.
All right, thank you, Evgeny, for joining me and talking to me on Newsx.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I'll keep bringing you more updates. I'll keep getting you insights from a lot of foreign journalists who've gathered over here to cover the SCO Summit. Stay tuned.